Good afternoon. This is Wednesday, June 15th, and this is a meeting of the Athens City Planning Commission. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the commission at any point, if they want to stand up, there is no one here. Today we have cases, one case for number 11-04, Panich and Noel Properties, Athens Sun and Fun, under Title 41, and there is no representative from them here at this time. Paul, do you want to maybe just go ahead and give the commission a little outline here?
I will do my best. Mike Knoll provided or applied for this 2 weeks ago on Wednesday morning prior to the Planning Commission. John and I were not able to distribute the files to you at the meeting because we were tied up in meetings all morning up at City Hall, and he dropped them off at the code office as he is expected to. This is the property address is 518 Richland Avenue. The project as proposed consists of a new mixed-use building with commercial use on the ground floor. That commercial use would be a replacement for the existing building at that location, which is Fun and Sun, I believe is the name of the company. They are a swimming pool supply company. Additionally, on the second and third floor, Mr. Knoll would be adding some apartments, I believe a total of 6 bedrooms. The site is in a B3 zone, which is general business, of course. One advantage that we thought was coming out of this was that it is cleaning up one of the many curb cut issues that we have on Richland Avenue. Right now there's a single curb cut that stretches the entire length of the parcel, which is about, I think, 100 feet or so, maybe longer.
Right, probably longer.
This will be closing into 2 curb cuts, each which would be 24 feet wide. So we're eliminating some of that traffic confusion that we're always talking about on Richland Avenue.
20-foot wide, Paul.
20-foot wide, excuse me. Would you like me to go through the findings from the
That'd be great.
staff
Thanks.
review? Okay. As I said, zoning is B3. The use is permitted, as well as residential on the second floor and above that is permitted in a B3. Setbacks, front, side, and rear are acceptable. Lot coverage also is acceptable. The height is permitted at 45 feet, John?
Correct, 45 feet, 3.5 allowed.
The only question I think we ran into was relating to parking, and maybe you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I just looked at the numbers again, and looking at the drawings, if we do separate out storage area from retail area and to calculate each one of those areas specifically, then he would be okay on the parking. He would need 15 spaces, and he does have 15 spaces. So,
If we look at parking, or if we look at it as a whole, storage and retail area both being the same, he's 1 short. Okay. There was another comment from John on here. The parking spaces on the south side do not meet the code depth requirement, so that would have to be extended out.
and I'm sure that's just a typo error on the drawings. He can definitely come out 1 more foot.
And also, there's no indication that there's any type of a parking block to prohibit somebody from driving through into the handicapped parking space. And this will be on the shade tree agenda for July. It is not in the floodplain. And then Fire Chief Troxel, the standard issues, standard things that he requests, that's always addressed. Location of the lockbox, the connection, and the alarm system annunciator, those are always required to be. The fire chief must sign off on their locations, and that's standard. Police Chief Tom Pyle did not have any issues with the project. And then Engineering and Public Works provided a separate memo that just gets into more detail about the specifics of the infrastructure, including the tap fees. I provided all of that data to Mr. Knoll on Friday. I've not heard back from him since then. I provided the other information from the staff report to him yesterday morning or afternoon, so. Now, a couple comments I had when I checked out the site yesterday afternoon. It looks extremely tight, any way I looked at it. When I drove out there at first, I was actually skeptical of the dimensions. I double-checked it using the Athens County parcel data and double-checked everything on the scale drawings, and it's as drawn, it fits based upon the parcel size, et cetera. So I think there might have been an illusion there as to the actual size of the building because they had some vehicles related to the business parked right next to it and some outside storage containers or some outside storage of some of their supplies, et cetera. So it looked a lot more cramped. You've got that back wall. Also, it's pretty sheer cliff. I don't know if you've been back there, but there's massive boulders right up there. And then there's a lot of foliage in front of that would probably need to be cleaned up to have that drop off in the back.
Is he going to need to excavate any of the rock that you're talking about?
According to the plans, no. But I'm not comfortable speaking for him on that either. So, as far as I know, he's not. But that's a question I never had an opportunity to ask him.
Maybe some kind of elevation there. If you look at the first section where it has a site map on this one, it says existing swale. So I assume that's maybe landscape, but it doesn't look like you'd be knocking into any of the rock. In fact, I think he's leaving a boulder behind on the south side for some reason. I also went out there and looked at it. I was kind of skeptical about whether it would fit in there. I guess it probably looks smaller without a building.
Yeah.
It's got there's an apartment complex to the north of it, this property, which is about, I don't think that's 3 stories exactly. I think it's 2.5.
I don't know, but keep in mind, that I guess what I'm thinking out loud here, as you're on the left-hand side of the building, that parking lot, you got a car space, then the drive in the middle, and then another car space. That would be about 60 feet at least to the building, and the new building's only 51 foot. So,
Yeah.
like Paul said, he's got those trailers there with the sand and stuff in it for the pool filters and such. So that's kind of misleading you a little bit.
It's one of the reasons that they need a bigger building because they don't have enough storage capacity in the existing.
Yeah.
Is there enough room for the garbage truck to get back into the dumpster?
20-foot wide access, he can pull straight in, load it up, tip it, and be out. Yeah.
I also noticed that the building actually is about 12 feet in front of the existing building. So, and I know that's, the existing building has all its straight-in parking, so you can see where that's going to disappear.
Right.
If I look down the road, though, this is going to bump out. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 other buildings further down south that actually, I know there's no front setback with B3s anyway.
Right. And this lot's the first one of the B3s. Just north of that, everything else north of it's the B2.
B2.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is on the cusp of it, okay.
And I noticed their asphalt drive, and I was saying, that's not there now. I mean, they're right up against that back sheer cliff, so.
Actually, if you look at the outline of the old building now.
Well, I did not see any place to, right, so.
Yeah, I was kind of thrown off by that, too.
And they'll have enough parking, well, depending on which way they go, they'll have enough parking for customer as well as residential.
Based on our calculations, it meets the code, yeah. Like I said, if we define the storage area separate from the retail area. If we don't, they're one short. If we count it as all one structure.
Now, if you count it all as one structure, and you say they're one short that way, is that something that we need then to get a clearer definition from them as far as which way they're going to go?
No, it's been typical. When we do our initial calculations to get everything in, we'll look at the entire structure to see if they're close. But then if we get down to it, on a lot, it's typical procedure for us to look at break down the building and kind of take it from there. And when I did that here right before we started, it worked out that he's okay. So.
Okay. Since we just did, Plan to Logue just passed out the off-street parking requirements here, and these are uses, Table B. And I see service garage, 78 square feet. I see retail sales, I guess, would be stores, et cetera. And that's the 200 feet, one for each 200 square feet, et cetera. And this is less than 10,000, so that's the number you're using, right?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
what section in here covers storage area, I guess?
I always use the bottom one, well, yeah.
Sports
The
arena?
whole, well, it's on the back.
Oh,
Wholesale establishment.
See the.
Oh, I see, right
I
there.
I just put it under the wholesale
Okay, I see.
establishment area for that part.
I forgot to turn the page over, thanks.
I would like to see that the parking be designated for the residents, whether in some manner, so that, they have their secured parking related to the residents, separate from the commercial area.
Yeah.
12,
There's
6.
six parking spaces, yeah, probably the 6 parking spaces farthest away from the building, I'd say farthest to the south, probably ought to be designated for residents only.
And these are really 2 apartments with 3 bedrooms. If I'm looking at the plan, it looks like 2 on the second floor, 1 on the third.
Double checking in there, I believe it's 2 two-bedroom apartments and 2 one-bedroom apartments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the 2-bedroom has a upstairs and a downstairs, and then the single bedroom are just on the second floor.
Oh, I see, okay, that's why,
Yeah.
okay, makes sense then.
And I think I did that just by counting the number of kitchens. Yeah. What is that issue right there?
Third floor.
Yeah.
And there's a common hallway, of course. And did the chief say, fire chief said this had to be sprinkled? No?
I don't believe it does.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Is that right?
It's a mixed-use building, so it'd have to be fire suppressed, yes.
There you go.
Okay. And it has a common hallway, so I have to assume smoke alarms and all that stuff.
Right. Correct. 2 two-bedrooms, 2 one-bedroom.
So this is on top of here. So you have okay, so the front 2 apartments are going to be the 2-bedroom ones, and the back ones are going to be the 1-bedroom.
Well, the front 2, or they're 2-story apartments, so you got a living room with a bedroom on the first, which will be the second floor, and then another bedroom up with a study looking down into the living area.
Okay, so that's a loft area, so it's good.
So a loft bedroom, I guess.
Loft study, maybe? Okay.
So this is part of this. Those are separate.
I'm trying to picture it. I mean, I know there's that rock wall there will make it look smaller. On the other hand, it's going to be closer to the road, so it'll look more looming.
They may have to do something on that behind them. I'm with Paul, we can't speak to that, he's not here, so I don't have,
Well, I don't think they can cut into that rock.
I probably not.
All that land development.
Oh, no.
Right.
That could create a lot of problems up the hill there.
And that's where the R1 starts, at that end.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of foliage there, so it's hard to actually gauge the amount. I mean, there is a trailer back there right now that tells you at least it's one trailer with the present building to the rock wall. And as I said, you can't even see the rock wall for all the trees and brush.
And that dashed line for existing building may just be just that, a dashed line. It may not be any accuracies to it either, I don't know.
I didn't pace off the building.
And separate from the improvements in terms of the curb cuts as opposed to what's occurring now, the city engineer has indicated that this would also help in our stormwater protection in terms of the overflow in that area,
There's also a sidewalk on there.
and a sidewalk.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume we sit on this until somebody who actually represents the architect or the business comes forward? Or do
I think that's up to the planning commission. If there's questions that need to be answered, or Mr. Knoll needs to explain to you, that's up to you. I'm not answering on his behalf, nor is John, I'll say that, so.
But either way you go, you're satisfied with the parking aspect of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes, because that's been our common practice to go ahead and if it's tight, to look at the more specifics of the floor plan of the given building, the interior space. So,
Well, I'd only be satisfied with it, like I said, as long as there was designated residential
Yeah,
parking.
they should.
I do kind of think that maybe, that's my opinion, that somebody should be here from the developer standpoint to kind
Oh, yeah.
of clarify. We can get this information to them. So.
that could be done with signage, obviously.
Does everyone agree then on maybe tabling this until a representative?
Yeah, I'm for that.
That's a second?
That's a
Or
second.
That's a first.
Motion, oh.
That's a motion, okay, I'll second
I'll move
that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Communications, bicycle parking recommendations. Paul, did you want to, gave us a handout today?
Yeah, well, it's, at the last meeting, Chairman Bittner asked for clarification on the tables. He was unable to find them on the Unicode City website. Just for further reference, they are on the city website in the zoning code. You have to scroll all the way to the end of the definitions, and all of the off-street parking, the bulk controls, all of those are listed in there as their tables. They're just not designated specifically. I'm going to talk with our IT folks and see if they can get those as a specific button on the Muni code, see if that can be changed for clarification. But I think what Nicholas wanted to do was just look at the existing table versus the recommendations that came out of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan and the Bicycle and Pedestrian Subcommittee of Council, and see how it would fit in, whether it should go directly into Table B or whether it should be its own separate comment towards the tables, whether I think what I had recommended is that it's just created as a Table D to simplify that so that it's not muddled in there with vehicular parking requirements or automobile parking requirements. But that's up to discussion at to what the planning commissioners think is the most reasonable or the logical fit for it.
And then, of course, the potential B2D exemption.
Yeah, I agree with that too, that should, there's nowhere to put them based on the requirements for B2D, so that B2D should be exempt.
Discussion?
We do have bicycle racks in the parking garage. We should probably look at improvements there, so, as far as B2D
There is,
and uptown.
they are looking at a few of those things through the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. A few discussions have been talked about for the Uptown District about maybe removing one parking space from Union or State or Washington, replacing a motorcycle parking space with a bike rack, so you can put 10 bikes in a parking space instead of something like that. So they're looking at a few of those ideas as a possible way to get more visible parking for
And the city's
bicycles.
open to losing a parking space for that?
I don't know.
That's part of the discussion, but
What?
the logic would be, of course, 10 bicycles is 10 people, one car is one person, and if you can put 10 bikes in a space where there's one car,
But you'd still have the exemption for B2D
Yeah.
because you couldn't necessarily
to,
do that
yeah.
throughout.
yeah.
This was brought up a few years ago about trying to remove a parking space and put a bike rack on Court Street. The things that got kicked around, of course, was one is that if you put something, if you just designate a place, somebody will move in there and park their vehicle anyway. The other thing is if you put actual bike rack there, one of the issues, of course, was how to keep it swept. This is one of the complaints you hear about sidewalks and bike lanes many times, is that it's dirty because the cars go by and spill it over to the area. So the idea that you'd have a bike rack that the street sweeper would
Yeah.
have to go bypass each time.
Well, the issue I had on Court Street really was you probably want something that's more or less fixed, and that's a hurdle during our parades.
Yeah.
So that's why we said that we were looking at it from one of the side streets uptown, so that it's not when we have parade permits, that we don't have the marching 110 having to trip around it when they're playing their tubas.
On the other hand, I think some of the parades do go up Washington, and some of the parades do go down Union. So there'd be occasions for that, too.
We can reroute.
Yeah.
But everybody does want to come down Court Street.
But you don't want to reroute off Court Street.
Off Court Street, no,
for a
makes
parade,
sense.
right.
And that would eliminate what we saw last summer, were a lot of bicycles attached to meters.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe allow some change in education, and don't put it here, this is where you can place things.
But again, that's a different subject than this part of it. But
Okay, and when you were talking about the exclusion of B2D, is that, I didn't see it in here. Am I missing it? Or just that was a notation from last time?
It's in
That's a
our
notation.
minutes.
Oh, I see, that's why.
I thought there was some talk, and I don't see it captured, was there something about multi-use residential that we talked about? Something to do with that
We have the
multi-unit
multi,
residential, but I thought,
down here.
in my notes.
Oh, in the note, in the minutes, you mean?
Oh,
It's not in my minutes.
I was not here, I do not know.
another thing from the last meeting when we were talking about in relation to a multi-unit residential, if it's a larger project, just like the one Mr. Farian's, his planned unit development, there's nothing to stop that project developer to create a room within the building that's a secured bike room. You see those all over in the cities with large apartment complexes. They put in the basement or on the ground floor just a room for bike storage for the tenants there, so that they don't have to lug them up the steps in the bad weather and drag muddy tires through the carpeted halls and all of that. So that's another option. They wouldn't just have to put it outside in the parking lot area. He could create a room.
He has an option as well in a lot of those areas down there. Since they're not doing a stacked parking, they've got the area in front of the stacked park or underneath the buildings, plenty of room to put in bicycle storage.
Okay.
just as long as that was notated, though, in the plans that they submitted, right?
Certainly.
Paul, I remember when you were talking, I had a question about the R2s, duplexes, defining how big a multifamily has to be before it kicked in. Because I don't know if we want to do it on a duplex house, require this.
Was there any discussion on the wording that Paul's introduced in the last meeting as far as the changing the definitions and adding the new table?
That's good.
Is the consensus also for adding a table D to keep things more clarified?
Yeah, yeah. Why mix the cars with the bikes if possible, if not necessary? So,
Do we want to get more clarification on what John was asking about as far as
I think we
definition?
draw up the table and just plug in the numbers and then present that back.
I think that's a good point about, do we want to have them for a two-unit duplex? I don't. In an R1 or an R2. I'm not sure. I can see where you don't want someone to just put a bike rack in the front yard necessarily of a.
And didn't we talk about that? This would be part of the 60% lot coverage?
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now again, if you've got a two-unit, two-bedroom, if you've got 4 beds in a duplex, you're talking space that's from here to here carved out in a parking lot, so or in a garage. So there's very little issue there. And then, but in a larger thing, then there's an opportunity to put something inside or underneath in the garage area. There's almost always some unused space that they could carve it into.
Might use the same standard that we did when we did the sign ordinance on a larger complex. What is required as at state level. If it's a state level type building or 4 buildings or something to that effect, then it would be required. And if it's under that, it doesn't. So
I'm almost inclined when it says multi-use residential to specify multi-use residential 3 units and above, for sake of clarity on that. That's something I'd be comfortable with.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Harry, you got it?
That sounds good, yeah.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah. So the next step is to put a table together and then we can vote on it? Is that what I'm hearing?
I can do that for the next meeting.
Do we need a public hearing on this?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in addition to the zoning code.
So we'll need to do that.
And I know, Paul, at the last meeting, you did say it might be good to
I
get some
did.
feedback from developers and supporters, so I can try to ring the bell for a public hearing. Probably we'd be looking at the end of July.
So nothing will happen until September anyway.
Yeah. So we'll get a table to you for the next meeting, and then we'll try for a public hearing in July, end of July, second meeting, if that works.
Maybe stick it on the website so somebody can find it, too, so they know what they're looking at, if they have questions.
Is this something we can just table that at this point, or?
I think
We need to take
you're
it.
giving them instructions, make a table.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. Okay.
We're good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reports from the city planner. Paul?
I just have a couple things. The first goes back to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. I was unable to attend their meeting on Monday, but I spoke with a few people about it. They said they had a very good discussion. What we're going to try to do is put together a package in relation to education and awareness for both bicyclists and drivers, share the road things, but also know the rules of the road if you're a cyclist, and all of that, so that everybody's on the same page. And so drivers also, vehicle drivers, would know the rules of the road too. We're also looking at some signage for the bike path throughout, not just in the city, but throughout. Keep to the right, all of those, so that you don't have people running on the wrong side of the road or on the wrong side of the path in line of sight with a bike, and so that bicyclists aren't all over there too. There's been a few near misses on the bike path, of course, and a few accidents every now and then. I almost got hit by a bicyclist last night when I was jogging. So when I saw that they were talking about that, I was already thinking about the same issue, that we probably could do a little bit better there for safety's sake. So that's what's going on with that committee. We will be having a meeting in July. If anybody from the Planning Commission's interested, I know the mayor, you come and go from that on occasion, but we welcome anybody to come and give their input on any of these issues and all of that. So
Do you have a date on July offhand?
I'd have to double check with Councilwoman Nisley to see if she set a date, but
Okay.
normally we try to meet the second Monday of every month at 1 o'clock. That's the standard now, so that would be Monday, July 11th, I believe. 4th is on a Monday this year, so
I'm sorry, what time?
I'm sorry.
usually at 1 o'clock
Okay.
at the first floor of City Hall, conference room.
Do you know if there's a representative from Athens Police Department? They have a brochure about bicycling, and I'd like to maybe bring them in.
From time to time.
Okay.
When Chief Pyle was Captain Pyle, he would generally show up. They're doing a lot of that information gathering right now on some of the best practices for educational programming and all of that. So I'll check with
Thank you.
Chief Pyle or Captain Williams on that, though. Other issues, the comprehensive plan, what do we call ourselves?
Comprehensive
Plan
Review.
Advisory Commission.
Commission, yeah.
Comprehensive Plan Review Advisory Commission, excuse me. We are finalizing, we've got a draft of the report that the commission is required to provide to the Planning Commission and to City Council on a yearly basis. That will be presented to City Council on June 27th. It'll also be brought up at the Town Hall meeting on June 28th. And the chairman of that commission, Ed Baum, he will be out of the area for the first Planning Commission meeting in July, so he's going to request that he can he and I can do a presentation to the Planning Commission for the second meeting in July, which would be our annual report on where we're going and what we found over the last year, and some recommendations to Planning Commission and City Council for things from the plan that were identified as still being needed to focus on that we haven't focused on yet. So, other than that, town hall meeting is on June 28th, as I said, at 6:30 p.m. at the community center. Mayor Weil will be giving a report back to the community, and there's question and answer opportunity for citizens to speak. That's all I have.
Okay, I noticed a letter in our packet from Randy Morris on the Disabilities Commission. Is that something you want to cover, or just to let us know about it?
I'm happy to cover that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. Morris is the chairman, I believe, of the Disabilities Commission. I met with them a while back, and they made a request, and by my error, I forgot to include them on the discussion for the Integrated Services Project. When I met with them, we had talked about any time projects come forward through the Planning Commission or through Title 41 that have anything to do with development for potentially for disabled people, that the Disabilities Commission be referenced to provide comment on it. I did not do that for this project. I did provide them with all of the documents in relation to the Integrated Services Housing Development. I gave that to them about 3 weeks ago, and I have not heard anything back, so I would presume that they are okay with it. But I recommended to Randy Morris that rather than let's codify that, or let's get that agreement so that the Planning Commission is aware that they would like to be included on those situations. And so I recommended that he just write a letter to Nicholas so that we have it on the record. So,
Do you think they should be looking at the Fun and Sun place? I mean, it has handicap parking, but it really probably would not affect.
The struggle I have with that, I think, yes and no, I suppose. One of which is that if something meets the minimum, if it's ADA compatible, it's ADA compatible, and our instructions are through Title 41 specifically is that everything must meet the minimums of city code, and so it could be reviewed, but the best anybody could do is make a comment. And if they say something should be done, etc., well, the developer doesn't have, they may take that into consideration or not. So that's, I'm not sure how we'd want to approach that. It could also extend the length of a review process from 2 weeks or 3 weeks into another month and a half, depending on when their meetings occur. So that's, I'll leave it up to the Planning Commission to determine how they think that's best to be done, though.
I'm aware there's a Disabilities Commission meeting tonight. I might just take the opportunity to drop these off and have a look at it.
Yeah.
Again, in terms of minimal, Title 41 does the law and not much else than that. They may see something that needs to be looked at, but immediately I don't know if they could come up with anything. Again, when you say 3 weeks ago it was put out there, if they meet monthly, response time is always going to be that type of lag.
Right.
Same thing with the Tree Commission to a certain extent.
And as a code, we have adopted the American Disabilities Act latest edition as well, when we changed the contractor registration and changed the building codes and everything in our code as well. So it's in there, in our code.
Anyone else? Paul, anything else?
No, sir.
John?
All I have is we had the BZA meeting last night. 4 cases. The first one was the Holzer Super 8 directional sign for the hotel out there that was passed. So I think it moving on that after many years of discussion. There's I do not have the addresses with me. I apologize. The house on Grosvenor that wanted to put the deck over the parking area to the rear of the property, the 134.
I think.
That was tabled. There was a difference of opinion on dimensions between us and the property owner, so we're going to re-verify that with them prior to the next meeting. There was a house on Mulligan Avenue, I think it was 15 Mulligan,
it was,
that wanted to convert a rear patio pergola area above it into a 3-season room, basically, and that was approved. And then the fourth one, as many of you know, was 3-wide entertainment. All accounts, nightclub, theater, entertainment hall, club, assembly hall were denied. So all 4 applications were denied. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, John?
No.
Oh.
That's it. I knew more was coming here. Go ahead.
Operations Clean Sweep, we're going to...
I didn't know if you want to introduce that. We are gearing up for Operation Clean Sweep starting next Tuesday. We are going to have our code officers and our solid waste litter control officer are going to be out in full force pretty much for the 6 weeks following, and continual, but really in full force in that time frame. Walking behind properties, identifying, and doing everything we can possibly do to make this work. So we're gearing up for it. We have a meeting at 2 o'clock with the Clean Committee. I have worked out the schedule, how we're going to do it. So it's, we'll see.
And Operation Clean Sweep is an endeavor brought forth from the Clean Committee, the Clear Litter Everywhere in Athens Now. And it's going to be a kickoff campaign that we hope can be a sustained campaign throughout the school year. You know, we'll work towards, we want people to be engaged and welcome this in terms of what can I do to fix up my property, and, you know, how can I, you know, address litter and where it is. And we have like a few different groups, but Uptown's kind of forming their own to try to address, you know, the whole beautification effort. What I don't want people to think is that, you know, we're starting this now and then by, you know, such and such a date, there will be no litter. I mean, I think trash is going to be with us, but we'd like to get this started in the summer. And then once the students come back, engage them in attempting to keep trash and litter out of the city.
But hopefully set a standard that's pretty high, so when they come back, they don't mess it up.
Thank you. Yeah, we know.
Thank you.
Let's go to try.
John, was that it?
That is it, yeah.
Okay. There's no one here for the purpose of speaking to the commission. Announcements and other business. The next meeting is July 6th, 2011 at noon here at City Hall. Is there any other announcements or business from anybody? Okay.
The only thing I have people saying, where are we with the sign regulation? And I think the last time we left it where...
It's in the law director's hands to review everything we put together still.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And I really want to get the telecommunications ordinance through, so the wireless telecommunication devices.
Okay.
Towers.
Okay, let's see if we can put that on the agenda next time.
Disposition of minutes. Any questions or concerns?
Well, let's see, I wasn't there.
So you're abstaining?
I'll have to abstain. Harry wasn't there.
Yes, I'm abstaining.
That leaves 2 people to vote for it.
I don't think we can. I think we'll have to defer until then.
We have to-
Yeah.
I think so.
Since you don't have quorum.
Well, we have quorum, but we don't have...
In that particular.
We don't have enough to pass.
Right.
To touch off what Paula just stated as well, I did receive a phone call about 2 more telecommunications towers, upgrades, the same outfit with the one on the parking garage across the street and one up in Monticello, however you want to say it. So, another reason to move forward with this.
Okay. So I guess we'll have to postpone the disposition of minutes.
If there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.